Alright. Alright. I've been holding off discussing this, but it needs to be said, especially since Big Finish, for some reason, has to have a series on this. And I just need to mention it. The War Doctor is in continuity! I'm sorry, he is not continuity. The War Doctor is a stupid, dumbass, idiotic sack of shit! It's a sack of shit! Literally shoved down everyone's throat and throats. And people just accepted it. They accepted it! Like, I have nothing against John Hurt. He's a fine actor, but he's not the Doctor. He's never been the Doctor. And the War Doctor is not the Doctor. His title even references that he's not the Doctor, and his title literally gives an FU to not only the Doctor, but to the audience. I mean, think about it. They're basically making the Doctor not being involved in a conflict because that's too shady for him. Oh, well, there was this bit with genocide, so we're going to do that. And then the whole thing where they just drop that. Like, let's focus. The War Doctor is a load of shit. It's very clearly, even though there's no definite evidence, it's very obviously clear that the War Doctor was just a replacement for Christopher Eccleston. That's all Moff wanted to do. He wanted to use every Doctor that he had somewhat wrote or written in. And it's repulsive for so many reasons. One, the fact is Paul McGann would have gladly been involved with the 50th anniversary, and it would have made more sense in continuity. Because guess what? Only Paul McGann or Christopher Eccleston were involved in the Time War. There was no War Doctor. The War Doctor was just some stupid shit that was made up on the spot because they couldn't get Christopher Eccleston, and Moff refused to have anyone in the any of the original classic Doctors involved in a 50th anniversary special. And don't give me that bullshit, oh, but Tom Baker's in there in the last few minutes. So what? He's not even portraying himself as the Doctor in any form. He's just some random dude that says some random lines that anyone could have fucking said! But again, getting off topic. For years and years and years, we've all known beforehand that Paul McGann regenerated into Christopher Eccleston. Christopher Eccleston's Doctor is the 9th Doctor! And then it went from 10 and 11 and so on. Yeah, there was no screw-up. There was no misunderstanding. There was no missing Doctor. I mean, even people would try to say, well, he's like the Shoka Doctor, the War Doctor is. You know, the Shoka Doctor from the animated film they did before, well, animated little short thing that they did before, you know, the new series started. And even then, that's a load of bullshit. They had the exact same actor who voiced the Shoka Doctor literally act as the Great Intelligence in Season 7. So even in retrospect of that, it's a load of bullshit. The War Doctor is a stupid, dumbass, idiotic sack of shit that was shoved down everyone's throats, and everyone just accepted it for no fucking reason. Just because. I don't even know why. Okay? For a Doctor to be a Doctor, they need to regenerate after the past Doctor. That's like how it's always been. I mean, some people had their arguments about, you know, certain regenerations because they didn't see it directly. Like, how people, you know, didn't accept Patrick Troughton's regeneration into John Pertwee's because we didn't see it. But even then, that's a load of bullshit. Patrick Troughton regenerated into John Pertwee, okay? I mean, I at least understand in that case why they have that ridiculous continuity. It's because of their, you know, admiration towards the second Doctor. But the War Doctor is not a Doctor of any Doctor. He was just some stupid sack of shit made up at the last minute. And the worst thing is it's continually being pushed in as though it's continuity. Which it's not. It's not continuity. Okay? He doesn't exist. He's not real. Not only that, he has no point being there. He was only in one fucking special and then gone. And now they're trying to fill it in with some random audio Big Finish dramas, which completely undermines and ruins the concept of the Time War. Because I know some people get upset at that Time War because Gallifrey's gone and whatnot, but let's be honest here, people. Okay? First off, all I need to do is mention Heaven Sent to point out maybe it's better to not have Gallifrey in the new series, at least at this point in time. And at least one of the smartest things Davies did was not actually using Gallifrey. He only used it once, and we all know how fucked up that was. But at least he only used it once. No. I do not understand why people accept him as continuity. He's not. There's only 12 Doctors. William Hartnell, Patrick Troughton, John Pertwee, Tom Baker, Peter Davison, Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, Paul McGann, Christopher Eccleston, David Tennant, Nat Smith, and Peter Capaldi. Those are all the Doctors in order, or at least the actors who portrayed those Doctors in order. And that's the way it is still. I don't give a shit what anyone says or tries to enforce about the War Doctor. He is not continuity. Okay? He's not. He's just a stupid sack of shit made at the last minute because Moff couldn't get Christopher Eccleston because he said no, and he refused to have any of the original Doctors involved in the anniversary special. Even though, this is the thing that pisses me off, even though all of the old school Doctors wanted to be involved in it that were alive. Clearly Tom did, and that's why he had that little segment. And same with Paul, and that's why he had that terrible little short that he had. And clearly all the others wanted to be involved in some way. Definitely with Peter and Colin, and of course Sylvester. I mean, they had to make their own little anniversary special with the 5-ish Doctors to even get it done. The 50th anniversary really was not a good year on screen. I mean, it was good in every other place except what was actually going on in the Doctor Who anniversary special. So, like, the 5-ish Doctors was great, An Adventure in Space and Time was great, the Doctor Who comics and the Doctor Who books were great, and the Doctor Who audio drama from Big Finish was great. So everything else was really great, except what was actually going on screen. I mean, for years, we all knew Paul McGann regenerated into Christopher Eccleston, or the 8th Doctor regenerated into the 9th Doctor. It was considered canon for years. And if you go back and watch the very first episode of Matt Smith's run, where he, towards the end, where they show, what was it? He says to, remember me, blah, 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 and then we see a screen of all the Doctors. Pay attention to that, because it literally shows Paul McGann's Doctor, the 8th Doctor, and then straight to the 9th Doctor. In order! So, clearly, even in Moff's turn, it's just a stupid sack of shit. There was no setup, there was no point. It was literally done in such a disgraceful manner. It's not funny. I mean, there's so many other things I could address about the 50th anniversary or Day of the Doctor thing, but I'm not gonna even discuss it. It's just, I want everyone to understand the War Doctor is not continuity. He is not a doctor, and he never was. I have nothing against John Hurt, as he's a fine actor, but literally he was an obvious fill-in that was completely, 1, unnecessary, and 2, completely disrespectful for what everything else was done previously. Just the level of acceptance towards this piece of bullshit is really what drives me nuts. Clearly, 8 or the 9 were the only ones involved in the Time War. No other Doctor was. No other Doctor was. And even in terms of the story's logic, it's inconsistent. It's not even inconsistency with its short that was before the actual special. And then Big Finish has to do a series for this bullshit.